So guys, I'm going to talk about the hygiene factor of Google and getting your business online, which is Google My Business. And this is the free listing that we talked about before, which is super important. One, it's free. Two, it displays the most important information that people want, your phone number and your physical address. And three, it helps with all your rankings. So even if you're not paying, if people are hitting your website a lot, then you're going to appear in the rankings. So we'll cover that first. It's really easy to get started on. As I said before, people want your phone number and they want your physical address. Search is the number one place that consumers get your phone number and they want to speak to you. And 40% would bail on you if your brand didn't come up. So it's really important. So how do you do it? Just quickly, show of hands, who's got a Google My Business page? A couple, cool. So this will be pretty basic for you guys, but just a reminder, I guess, for those who don't have it. So go to google.com.au/business and you'll see this really beautiful, simple websites. It will take you through it, basically. So this is just a helpful hand so you guys are ready. You'll create a login and password, follow the prompts, really. Then you'll search for your business, and Google's directories might actually pop up your business automatically. Quite often it does. We've got a record of that business. If not, you can just do it yourself and start to populate that information. So if you see it in the list, select it and click to continue. If you don't, then just click on Add Your Business and go through that process. Enter all your business details, and this is where you start to get into things like categories, opening hours, obviously your address, and again, it's really self-explanatory. Just follow the guidelines. So this is a question I was speaking to someone about earlier around verification, because it's really important that we just don't give authorization to run a Google My Business page to anyone. So we verify that business pretty carefully. That's just a page about the details, but next is confirming your business. So here's all the address stuff that comes up. Again, just follow the information. It's all about managing your own business. So verifying it, really important. This is where you click to start the verification process, and it'll actually be done by a landline. So we will, most importantly, check your landline first, but if you don't have one, we'll give you the landline and then we'll call you. Google will call you. It'll actually be a robot, so you don't hang up. Make sure you don't hang up. But if you don't have a landline, you can you'll have to use a postcard. So it's a bit more of a manual process. But again, it's just really important that we make sure that you're the person that's running the business that we're giving access to.
Is there any other way to verify business?
Other than which?
Than a landline or a postcard?
No.
Because we have a business we actually can't verify.
You've tried?
It's not located at a postal address, and it operates by mobile phone because it's remote. And I'm not able to even get the phone verification option. It's not offered.
So have you tried? There's a few different ways. Like you can use a home address. Have you tried that to get the postcard sent to? But then you can keep that address private here.
Can you? So that doesn't change the location of the business? Well,
no, because you pick your service area. So back up here, in these areas, you can see you can pick your service area. I think you can do like the whole of the state potentially, whole of the country, that kind of thing. So maybe try the home address. But that answered the question around the home address. So you can get it sent to the home address and keep that address private so that your home address doesn't get listed on the internet, which is pretty helpful. So you request the PIN, really manual. You get the postcard sent to you. That postcard's got all your name and details. You go back to the website and you put in your PIN. In the meantime, you can start to customise your website, similar to all the other guys and similar to what Gemma was speaking around. You can get really clever, really engaging. Make sure that your website stands out with photos and really good descriptions, and you can change that constantly. Of course, we've got data and insights around the business, so a really basic version of Google Analytics, but you can see how many calls you're getting, which day you're getting the calls, verify time frames, look at different time ranges. So this would be really helpful as well to, maybe you are getting much more calls on a Thursday and Friday night, so Maybe you might want to put some more staff on to take those calls. So all of these things can have a massive impact on the operations of your business as well. This is just showing off with photos again, like I touched on before. Enhancing your listing. So this is more about kind of beautification and making sure that your website pops and people click on it over someone else who isn't quite as flash. But there's a Google Trusted Photographer program. So if you need help with a photographer, we've negotiated rates with various photographers around the country. There will be one in the Northern Territory, whether it's in Alice or not. I couldn't get an answer, but I'm trying to find that out. But we can send someone who specialises in this or has got a really good experience in Google My Business photography. You can do virtual tours as well. This is something that's really interesting. Maybe not for you for this type of product, but for B&Bs and for outback camping, this would be fantastic, a virtual tour, just to get people a real experience, because we've seen that there's double the interest in your business listing through something like a virtual tour, particularly young people. 18 to 34-year-olds are in particular are more likely to take, to book with you if you've got something like a virtual tour. That's how you can search for the trusted photographer. So that's Google My Business. That's the basics, and the next part is AdWords, which is more sophisticated but still really simple. And it's not something that you can just kind of do a how-to on. It's something that we've got, again, teams on the 1-800 numbers, on the websites, lots of helpful staff that can get you online with AdWords. But this is just the top line again, like we covered before. Searching for Melbourne day tours. Here are the ads here, those top ones, and you can be much more prominent with these clever extensions. I guess the main thing you're probably thinking is how do you work out what words you want to bid on? That's probably the interesting thing, and the best way to go about it is like Neil was saying, just kind of workshop it with whoever is in the business, whoever knows the business. So we're talking about outdoor. So yeah, thank you. Good luck. We're talking about glamping and well, it's an outback glamping in Kings Canyon. So maybe that specific keyword isn't, people aren't searching for it, but they'll be searching for variations of it. So the best thing to do is brainstorm with your team 15, 20, 25 words, what you think people are looking for, and then start your AdWords account and spend a few weeks monitoring it. You could have $10 a day, you could have $20 a day, but the system starts to pick up on what people are searching for and what's resonating, and it will start to give you recommendations. So it's almost automatic, as long as you're kind of there checking on it every few days. And then you can say, of those 15 keywords, 3 are just nailing it, right? So then you can say, right, I want to invest 80% of my budget in those 3 keywords, and maybe we'll try another 10. Yeah, there is none. So I'd love to be able to answer that, but it depends on what you're comfortable with. Depends on what you're spending on marketing elsewhere. But if you're running press ads or printing loads of brochures, then it's a lot cheaper than that, and it's a lot more effective. But people can run, small businesses can run campaigns for $20 a day.
We were chatting earlier, because we work in tourism, obviously you're giving away percentages if people sell you. So you're giving away 20 or 25 or potentially more depending on who it is. Yeah. So if you work out in a month how much you're giving away in commission, as opposed to spending that towards AdWords to get the direct booking, obviously it balances out depending on...
Exactly, and that's what we like to say. This is a solution for a business, so you need to consider all those other factors around your business. So tourism's got all these not complicated, but all these other tools that are out there. So you need to weigh it up in amongst those. But we know that Google search is where people go first and foremost. So if you can be in there competing and trying to make sure that other people aren't stealing what are rightfully your customers, then that's really smart. So kind of workshop, brainstorm, get your list, call up the guys on the 1-800 number and start to talk about getting your accounts online. That was the stuff I talked about before. Just really clever, like using the phone. It's the native instrument that's there. Click on it instantly, and there you go. You're converted. Then you can charm the people on the phone when they call you up. That was our trip before. This is kind of what I talked about before. But again, budget's really flexible. Results are there and then in absolute real time. Pricing is totally flexible. Pay whatever you want, but the system gets better with the kind of more information you feed it, the more budget you feed it, the more clicks you get, the more sophisticated the targeting will be. And of course, you only pay for ads that actually pay off. It's not like traditional media where you pay for your ad and hopefully someone pays attention to it, but quite often they don't. If your ad shows up, like those listings before, you don't pay for that unless someone clicks on it. And there's two options. So there's one called Google AdWords Express, and this is the most basic of basic options, and you really need to have a chat with one of the experts around this, whether it's right for you. But basically, it's kind of set and forget. So you tell it how much budget you want to spend, you tell it your industry, you give it some keyword suggestions, and it works by itself. But you can't manually optimise it, so it's quite restricted, but it is really a good starting point. But you just got to be careful that if it's starting to work and you want to get in there and get your hands dirty and work on it, then you'll have to transfer then to proper AdWords, and there's a bit of a process in that, but it's definitely a great entry-level solution. Google Trends is great. Talking about keywords, this is a publicly available tool that anyone can use right now, but you can go in. I was actually thinking about doing a live example. Desert Park. So if I just type in there Desert Park, Alice Springs, and I can find out interest over time over the past 5 years worldwide, or I can click on just go to Australia. If you start your own account, then the more tools are available to you in the actual system, and it's pretty you can really administer it yourself. You don't need to be an expert. You need to have a pretty decent understanding of how digital works, but the more time you spend on it, the more comfortable you'll get. So that's Alice Springs Desert Park over the last 5 years. So pretty interesting, actually. It obviously seasonal, but you'd think, based on just the amount of people online and searching for holidays, as we saw before, that this would probably be spiking a bit more aggressively, but it's not. So maybe some work to do there with that brand. The other cool thing you can do is compare it to something else. What might be another really popular attraction up here? Yeah, no, that's it. I think so. Tourist attraction, right? So then we can see those two in comparison. We might just get a bit more meaningful data if we go for the last year. Whoops. So we had a massive spike in the Desert Park June this year, and both of them are really starting to ramp up now, which is pretty interesting. So that tool can be used by anyone. It's quite interesting just to have a play with it, actually. But then we were starting to, I was trying to prepare for this, and I was starting to think about terms. And one big one is staycation, and just with some smart people at Google have correlated staycation and the Aussie dollar. So as the Aussie dollar dropped down over the last few years, there was a correlation between the Aussie dollar being worth less overseas and staycation driving up. So if you can pick up on these little niche words that people are searching for, then you might have a massive, lucrative business opportunity. So that's the trend for staycation, and over the past 5 years, from kind of nothing to massive volumes. And there'll be some really clever big brands taking advantage of that one for sure. So again, creativity, the more you can kind of think and brainstorm and come up with ways to capitalise on what people are really doing, then the more business potential's there. That's it.